Hey everybody, welcome back to the Always Out of Market podcast. Obviously, we are now back into football season. We had preseason this week, so we're going to talk about that today. Maybe talk a little bit about our next preseason games next week, and then we're going to talk about news. So, Jason, start us off.
All right. Uh, so most of our news this week is injuries, unfortunately. With games happening the past couple days, and then there's a couple going on now. Um, we're going to start off with a couple of signings, though. Those being the Panthers signed pass rusher Justin Houston to a 1-year deal to bolster their defense a little bit. The Vikings signed former first-round pick N'Keal Harry. I think he played at the Patriots, I want to say. Um, so I guess another target other than Justin Jefferson for Kirk Cousins to throw to, because they probably need it.
Well, they lost Thielen.
He's
Yeah,
still not
Thielen's.
going to throw to him. He's going to throw Justin Jefferson.
I mean, probably 75% of his passes will. Yeah.
Well, Justin Jefferson's always going to somehow get open. He would be like triple covered, and he'll still find a way to do a one-handed catch or something like that. So.
Not against Jair, he didn't.
I was about to say, I knew you were going to bring it up.
When are you getting the Alexander jersey?
I have one.
There you go. Never mind.
I was like, that's the one he has. Is
Okay.
Alexander. All right. The Eagles signed 2 players, both linebackers, Miles Jack and Zach Cunningham, both to 1-year deals. I still don't know what the Eagles defense is going to look like in the regular season. They looked pretty good yesterday and against the Ravens in preseason, so we'll see when all their starters actually play and how they look.
Wait, who won? I didn't even realize.
The Ravens. The Ravens won by
still
1.
They came
won
back.
by 1 point.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that puts their streak up to 24, I think.
Such a stupid stat to hold on to.
And now I think they're going to keep it this year. I don't think they're going to get beat. I thought the Eagles were the one team that could actually beat on this preseason. All right. This looks like this should be the last signing. And that is the Lions signed Teddy Bridgewater.
Yeah. Good old Teddy. Teddy Two Gloves. Let's go.
The best quarterback the Broncos have had since Peyton Manning retired. And that's a fact. That was the highest scoring offense we've had since Peyton Manning was with Teddy Bridgewater as our starting quarterback.
That is so devastating to hear. I'm so sorry.
All right, so now we've got our injuries. The Falcons. I didn't read anything into this really, but the Falcons had a corner, Clark Phillips III. He was carted off in a joint practice with the Dolphins. I didn't see what kind of injury it was or how severe it might have been. I haven't seen anything on like Twitter or anything about it either, so I'm assuming it's nothing big. And then, shocker, Broncos have some injuries to report. Mike McGlinchey, he has a knee sprain. He's out for 2 to 3 weeks. So he should be ready for the regular season. Thank God.
That still sucks, though.
Yeah, we had some injuries in our preseason game. The most notable one was DJ Jones got a concussion. So his timeline is kind of in the air right now. We had a couple other ones that they should be fine for the start of the season. I won't get into those really.
Did they make any adjustments to how they're handling concussion protocol this year? Or is it pretty much the same as what they did last year, where they just have to get cleared?
I think it's the same. I haven't seen anything about it being different, so I'm assuming that it's the same. Or if it's different, it's not anything worth them telling us about, I guess. Regardless, hope our guys are ready for the regular season because we looked bad in preseason.
Matthew, Jason and I were talking about it or looking at it yesterday, and I just pulled up the Broncos depth chart, and it's already just filled with red where it's questionable, out. Just every PUP, a little bit of everything is showing on there.
Yep, it's rough.
Well, they're the most injury-ridden team in the entire NFL. So
The past like 3 or 4 years at least, yeah, for sure. What's crazy is we have a new like strength and conditioning coach, and we're still getting hurt before the season even starts.
That dude
And
has the most stressful job right now. He's like, just
I
stay
know-
okay.
So most of them have just been like crazy, like such bad luck to happen, like our ACL tears and our Achilles tears we've had, like just freak accidents. Not really anything you can do about that.
Yeah.
Speaking of Achilles and ACLs, the Cardinals lost a running back for the season. Marlon Mack tore his his Achilles in practice. Literally, I think like 2 or 3 days after he signed with the team. And I was so nervous for the Broncos game because their field is bad, and that's why he hurt himself, is because the field is just rough. And I watched the replay. There's a video where he hurt himself and tore his Achilles, and it's because the field is in such bad shape.
Cardinals don't have anybody to play at all at this point. Like,
Yeah,
who is on their team at this point?
Clayton Tune.
Yeah.
Let's see. The 49ers, Ray McLeod has a broken wrist. He'll be out for at least a couple months, and it is a break that requires surgery. So that's going to lengthen how long he's out, probably. I feel like he was mostly like a returner, special teams guy. So it shouldn't be too big of a blow for them. Regardless, wish him speedy recovery. I missed a signing earlier. The Raiders signed Damian Williams, Super Bowl champion Damian Williams. Played for the Chiefs, and they won their Super Bowl a few years back. The Seahawks had a wide receiver, Cade Johnson. He went to the hospital after being immobilized on a stretcher during their preseason game against the Vikings. I haven't heard anything about that one either, so I'm not sure what his injury is. Obviously, it's like a head or neck injury. So
I think they'll be okay. They're pretty stacked when it comes to wide receivers at this point. So,
well, yeah. Still, you hate to see somebody have to go to the hospital because of an injury. And then the last injury on here hits home for our Packers fan up here. Tight end Tyler Davis suffered an ACL tear, so he is out for the season. And I did see he did score a touchdown in y'all's game before he tore his ACL too. So,
which we do have like 5 other tight ends on the roster. So, I mean, it does suck to lose him because he's one of our better tight ends, but maybe the new guys will show up and do something. I sent it to Jason the other day, and he said, "Oh, 1 down, 3 more to go."
yep.
Who was the tight end that y'all drafted? I can't remember. It was like the 2nd or 3rd round, wasn't it?
We drafted 2 or 3 this year, so I really can't remember. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. 2 of them were back to back. I know.
Yeah, they did draft me back to back. I remember that. It was like in the 3rd and 4th rounds, I think.
Yeah, one of them was from South Dakota State, I think.
Wasn't one of them from Notre Dame?
I think so.
I think that's probably the one Steven's thinking of.
I'm not. I'll go check, but I can't remember their names.
we can swing back around to it in a minute.
Yeah.
I think his name's like Dalton something. Just some reason that rings a bell.
I think that is right. I think you're right.
God, it's driving me crazy now. Draft picks 2023. Go ahead, Jason.
I was gonna say I'll take your mind off of it for a second because I got some news from the Titans.
By the way, never mind. It was Luke Musgrave is the person I was thinking of.
Yep, that's what I was thinking of too. Now that you
I think when I said Dalton, I was thinking of Dalton Kincaid, but he went to like another team in the 1st round. So because y'all went for Lucas Van Ness in the 1st round.
We do have 5 tight ends on our roster.
Jesus Christ.
Obviously Tyler Davis is one of them, but so 4 tight ends. And,
they'll probably still cut one of those, I guess. Probably.
Tyler Davis.
No, they won't cut him.
That'd be pretty dirty to do that. Be like, sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got Oh yeah, the Browns signed Shelby Harris to 1-year deal too. I just saw I missed that one as well. My notes were not in order this week. Sorry about that.
All right, what's the
Uh,
Titans news?
Y'all's vice president is out. Gil
Yeah,
Beverly.
yeah. I got really.
What's up with that?
We don't know. I've talked with Tyler about it. They've been very secretive. And then again, Titans organization's always been very secretive about shit like this anyway. But they I mean, even when they fired the GM last year, they were real secretive of their reason. It's like, we know what the reason is. We traded away AJ Brown, and then he fucking destroyed us in the game right before he got fired. Duh, that's the reason. But for this one, I really don't know because I hadn't really heard anything from the VP. I got really confused because all the pictures that were showing, and it was, I think, Paul Kaharski, who's one of the reporters for the Titans, kind of a dickhead, but he does seem to get pretty good information. He was the one that I first saw like announce it, and then it was like officially announced. But I got really confused at first because I thought it was the guy that was like leading the stadium stuff. Like, since we're getting a new stadium in a few years, and I'm like, that's gonna fuck us up. But then I realized it was the other guy in the picture. So I don't really know much about that particular side. I mean, that's all like 100% business staff side. So I don't really deal as much with that. So I don't know if they were just ready to go in a new direction because it sounds like they're not replacing his position. They did say they're basically kind of pushing it towards the other people, kind of dividing out that role into the already available staff position. So it may have just been a money thing, but I really don't know. But it did surprise me.
Yeah, I mean, it felt like it kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah. And especially at this point in like, you think that would have happened like during the off season. It started as soon as the season started back up. It's kind of a weird time for it to start happening. So
yeah, it's a little odd, like you said, with the timing. It is. I mean, you feel like you wouldn't want to lose that position in your organization as the season starts.
right.
Like you said, now they're pushing it off on people who are already in the organization to pick up all that slack.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm thinking from a work standpoint. I mean, obviously this is a little different because it's football, but I mean, these are still jobs that we're talking about. Oops.
Yeah.
Get rid of that.
Steven, you should just be the new VP for the Titans.
There you go.
I am not at all qualified for that, but
most of them aren't.
I'm about to say, yeah.
Oh man, that's so mean.
I mean, look at how the Commanders and the Cardinals organizations and the Texans organizations have been the last few years. I mean,
yeah.
If they can have
one of us
jobs,
would do way worse than they do.
No, yeah. I'm thinking from like, I've gone through that at my job at work where, you know, you're somebody gets fired and then they don't replace that person. It's just more work for everyone else. So I can relate. But anyway, I really don't have anything else to say about that. I really just don't know. I'm gonna be trying to kind of keep an eye on it, but I don't really have anything now.
that's it for the news. So I mean, we can dive into what we have witnessed this past week in the preseason, and I know I asked you, I think it was yesterday, Steven, what team stood out to you the most so far, which while we're recording this, there are 2 games left of week 1 of the preseason. So one of those teams may impress us more. One of them has impressed me a lot right now. But do y'all have a team that you think stood out more than the others so far?
Who did I say yesterday? I don't even remember now.
You told me the Falcons.
Yes. Okay, that's what I was about to say now. I just didn't want to say something different. But yeah, I'm gonna stick with the Falcons. Mostly because I don't think they really played. I mean, they didn't play Bijan really at all. I don't think. But Logan Woodside looked okay, I guess. Which, I mean, he was a backup on the Titans for at least a couple years, and then they ended up cutting him. And then he went to a couple different places, and I guess he's on the Falcons now, which is weird because we, of course, after leaving the Titans, Marcus Mariota went to the Falcons, and now Logan Woodside did the same thing. But now Marcus Mariota is at the Eagles now. So, but, I mean, they played really good against the Dolphins, and, I mean, of course, we're dealing with all the backups and stuff, so it's completely different, but just with how they played, I mean, they were getting down the field pretty well. And I mean, they completely kept the Dolphins, especially the Falcons' defense, they kept the Dolphins from being able to do anything. They only got 3 points. So, and then, I mean, I liked what I saw out of the Seahawks too, but it's because I think they're one of the best when it came to drafting this last year, or this preseason, I should say. So I thought the Seahawks looked good too.
All right. Matthew, I know you didn't have a chance to really watch a whole lot, but did you see anything that stood out to you?
That's what I was gonna say. There's not like a team that I know has done really good, but there are a bunch of players that I saw that were like just playing out of their mind for some reason. I saw Stetson Bennett did really good in his opener.
Yeah.
Jordan Love did really good. There's somebody's cutting grass right outside my house. If you can hear that, it's really loud.
A little bit. You're good.
It's really loud to me. Who else? The Jags quarterback. I don't know if y'all saw the play.
Nathan Rourke. Yeah.
Yes, he somehow broke 3 tackles and then still planted his feet and delivered a touchdown pass. That was pretty crazy. And everybody in the comments is like, "Oh, if Patrick Mahomes did this, the NFL would be on their knees." Yeah, because nobody knows who this guy is. But
yeah, I mean, the Jags started out real strong against the Cowboys. The Cowboys started coming back, but of course the Jags still won in the end. But yeah, the Jags might have a good situation for backup, so good for them, I guess.
I want to throw a name out there that we all know very well because we've played against him. Tank Bigsby looked pretty good for the Jags. I will say, I think they may have gotten a steal picking him so late in the draft.
I think
honestly.
he went way too late. I was very surprised, but I mean, he wasn't the main guy that everybody was thinking about.
Yeah,
we had a few other people in that position that were higher ranked, and then of course no respect for that position anyway. But I think they got a good steal on that player too.
Team-wise, honestly, I told Steven yesterday the team that had impressed me the most was probably the Packers. I'm gonna shift that to another team and bump the Packers to second. The Chargers impressed me against the Rams. In the first half alone, they put up 20 points, which is more than most teams have scored in the preseason in an entire game.
Yeah, trust me, I know.
They look pretty good, and I don't think they played their starters like at all. So, considering that they played backups pretty much the whole game, if not the whole game, and were still able to put up 34 points, I find that very impressive. And then also the Steelers surprised me. I talked to Steven about that yesterday too.
I was going to mention the Steelers.
Yeah, they looked pretty good. I still don't think they're gonna, they might sneak into a wild card spot this season, but I'm not gonna go crazy and say they're gonna have like 11, 12, 13 wins. They did look pretty good though. Kenny Pickett looked decent. So we'll see how the season goes.
The only thing that bothers me about them playing the starters and stuff is that it makes the starters look really good against a bunch of backups.
That's true.
So it's like, yeah, Kenny Pickett looked really good and George Pickens looked really good, but they're playing a second string. I can't even think of who they were playing, but they're playing second stringers most of the time. So it's like, yes, they looked good, but are they going to look good when they're playing starters?
Well, and then it can go the other way too. If you're a team that's playing the starters and you're not putting up points, that looks real bad for the season. Sorry, Jason.
The Broncos, okay, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. Russell Wilson looked fine. Russell Wilson looked sharp. The offensive line needs a lot of work for the Broncos because he had no time on 95% of his dropbacks. But on the plays where he actually had some time, he was looking sharp. So, and I know throughout the whole game, we didn't have Mike McGlinchey, obviously. He got hurt in practice before the game even started. So we didn't have our right tackle. And we were swapping in 2s and 3s with all different players. So we didn't have the team dynamic going on the offensive line. So I'm worried about it. But at the same time, I'm trying to keep my cool. It's preseason, not our starters. I think we'll be okay. I mean, yeah, we did lose to the Cardinals. They're projected to be the worst team in the NFL. We lost to their backup defense. So that's a little embarrassing regardless.
I wanted to talk about that a little bit too, because of course I watched that game, and at the end I was just thinking, okay, we're probably just going to end in a tie or whatever. But then they announced that the Cardinals were going for 2, and I'm like, oh my god. And then they got it.
Yep.
They got it, and I think it was an undrafted free agent that ended up, or undrafted player that ended up getting the 2-point conversion. I'm like, oh my god, now they're gonna win this game because there's only like 2 seconds left as they went for the 2 points. So yeah, that was a crazy end to a game that doesn't really fucking matter anyway, but just
and that's why they did it, is because it doesn't matter if they lost on trying to go for 2 points. Then whoop de fucking do, it's the preseason.
Yeah, and to be fair, I mean that seems to make sense because there's no overtime and in preseason. I mean, why would they do that? But despite what the announcers were saying, and then they were like, "Oh wait, there is no overtime." But it is kind of boring to just walk out of a game like, "Yep, we tied," which can still happen in regular season. Which I can't imagine going to one of those games and walking out with a tie.
I would be so upset. Regardless, like
I would rather at least have something happen out of it, whether it be good or bad. But
so are we going to go into our teams games? Because I'd like to hear Steven's take on the Titans and Will Levis.
So before we do that, I want to talk about teams that we thought looked awful, and I have a feeling we're all going to say the same team. The Panthers looked so bad.
Yes,
literally didn't score.
I was going to ask because I didn't see anything about the Panthers game, and I was just about to ask if anybody saw how Bryce Young did.
Wasn't anything impressive. Yes.
No.
Yeah, he played. He played.
Yeah, he played.
He just wasn't that impressive when he was out there. He played like the first half, basically, or was it just the first quarter?
I think it was just the first quarter. But regardless, his stats do not look great.
What are the stats? You got them pulled up?
Yeah, he went 4 for 6 for 21 yards.
Was there any of the rookie quarterbacks that did good? So
no.
Stetson Bennett did decent.
Clayton Tune.
I don't know who that is.
The Cardinals rookie that they drafted.
Oh.
Yeah, he actually looked really good.
I say that as a joke, but at the same time, I'm serious. He probably looked the best out of all the rookie quarterbacks that played. Honestly.
Sean Clifford didn't throw the ball to the other team so much. He looked good other than that. Hell, he had 200-something yards.
He made some very, very bad decisions, though, a couple times. And that was my biggest takeaway from the Green Bay game, is just, like, Clifford was incredibly inconsistent. And I wanted to see Magoo real bad.
I was pretty mad that he didn't play. Except for
I really hope we see him in at least one of the other preseason games. We've got to see him in there.
I think that this week they'll swap him and Clifford's play time, and Magoo will get most of it. And I think whoever it is, like whoever shows out the most in preseason, is going to stay on that roster, and the other one's going to get booted, not make the final 53-man or whatever it is. But
y'all will have all three of them because of the new rule.
Oh, that is true.
So y'all already cut.
They may not. Remember, you still have to include them on your 53, even with the backup. It's your active roster on game day. You don't have to use a spot. That's the biggest misconception about this. So there's still some teams that I'm still thinking are just going to keep 2. There's going to be
I feel
some
like
teams.
I
I
feel
think
like
you
it's-
should keep 3, but
Yeah.
I don't know
I
if every
don't see a
team will
reason
do
you
it.
shouldn't keep 3. I just forgot about the rule.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
gonna
but
say I would be very surprised if they didn't keep all 3 of them. I feel like it's just such a risk to go into a game with only 2 quarterbacks, especially with what we saw with the 49ers in the playoffs. I know we always bring that up, but that could happen any game. Like,
mhm.
you could just get so unlucky to where both your quarterbacks get hurt back to back. Then what are you going to do? You're going to throw a running back or a wide receiver in there and run Wildcat? Like, it's
That's
not
the
going
only
to work.
that's the only thing you could do, really, unless you got
Yeah.
somebody on the roster that can throw.
The Broncos had that same situation. Well, not the same. During COVID, all of our quarterbacks were not allowed to play because they got too close to each other in the locker room. We had to throw in Kendall Hinton, who's a wide receiver, and he was our quarterback for a whole game, and it was bad.
Crazy.
It's
That's crazy.
I know this. I know it's not the NFL, but what last year, 2 years ago, I think Kentucky had to use a wide receiver as their quarterback
Yeah.
the whole year. They were just out of quarterbacks, and he played the whole year and didn't do bad. I can't remember what his name is, but
I can't either, but I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah, but I still think there's a chance there'll be a few teams that, depending on other players they want to keep, they may decide to just try to do 2 and then just pick up somebody on their practice squad if they run into a situation like that. But especially for the Packers, I don't see any reason not to keep all 3 of them. It's probably a battle between who gets second on the roster at this point.
Yeah.
I hope it's Magoo.
Me too. Me too.
I just like them all.
I'm such a Magoo fan, so I'd love to see him.
If Jordan Love gets hurt, Magoo, I just hope he does something. Just does something for us.
Well, yeah, we can jump into our team's game specifically. So
We're already talking about the Packers, so what else do you have to say about the Packers?
Biggest things that stood out to me, Manuel Wilson, our rookie running back. He had the 80-yard touchdown run, and then one where he just angry ran through everybody and scored. He had some story about it too, about 14 years ago. I didn't look at it. I didn't care that much. Who else? Jordan Love's favorite target is for sure Romeo Dobbs. I told Jason that the other day. Every time I see him throwing a touchdown to somebody in practice or training camp or game, it's always him, which I don't mind. I like Romeo Dobbs, and he got shafted out of a season last year. What else did I notice? I saw a lot of people complaining about our kicker. Apparently he was not doing too hot. Like I said, I didn't get to watch the game. I was busy. So I just watched highlights. But a lot of people were complaining about our kicker. I guess they're talking about Carlson.
I'm looking at the stats. I'll pull them up for each game we talk about.
Yeah.
Carlson did miss 2 extra points.
I saw a lot of people commenting under clips and stuff saying we got to bring Crosby in, even though it's preseason and Crosby's 95 years old.
Yeah.
The team all around looked pretty decent though. Like I said, if Clifford didn't give the ball away as much as he did, he would have had a really good day. Mad Magoo didn't get to come in, but for a play, and it was a touchdown that he didn't get to contribute to. Other than that, I was very happy with it.
I'm going to throw a name out there that I did notice that you didn't bring it up. Dontavion Wicks looked really good. He had 3 catches for 68 yards on 4 targets. I don't know if he's okay. I was gonna say I don't know if that's like a starter or if he's second string or if he's practice squad.
I've never heard that name.
Okay, well, let's see. Where did he? He came from Virginia. Y'all picked him in the 5th round.
I was gonna say I remember us picking a Virginia wide receiver, but that's why I don't know who is it. That's why I don't know his name. I don't know all the rookies yet.
That's y'all's.
Only
that
the
was
main ones.
That was y'all's leading receiver in that game.
How did Reed play? Guy out of Michigan State.
Jaden Reed.
Yeah.
His stat line: 2 catches, 20 yards on 2 targets. So
he's the guy who a lot of the fans and people inside the team are saying he's going to be the guy. Like he's very possible to. some point this season emerge as our number one receiver, just because he's so shifty. And I don't see him being the number one, but you never know how it. I mean, they're all like 21 years old, so everybody's got a chance on the Packers wide receiver core.
I'm gonna bring up another name real quick, and it's on the Bengals. Matt Kippenhammer had 2 catches. I brought him up in the last episode. You are here, Matthew. I love
the name.
that name. It's
That's
amazing.
A great name.
He didn't have a touchdown, but he did have 2 catches. So I really hope he makes the team.
What's his name?
Hippenhammer.
Mac Hippenhammer.
What the hell?
That is one of my favorite players now. I really
You
hope
gonna
he
get a
makes the
jersey?
team. I'm gonna say no.
That would be so funny.
If I come last place in our fantasy league, that can be the punishment that y'all make me do, is get a Hippenhammer jersey.
And you have to go out of your way, find a way to get it signed by him too. Start reaching out and be like, please sign this.
I will figure out a way to get that to happen if all of that happens.
Go to a game and you're like, hey, sign this. Corey.
I think that's what we should do as a punishment for the final. Whoever comes last has to buy a jersey from their least favorite team.
Oh God, I have to buy a Chiefs jersey?
You're gonna make me get a Trevor Lawrence jersey?
Yes. And then I would have to get a Justin Fields jersey.
Oh man.
That would suck. I would have to get a Patrick Mahomes jersey.
I wouldn't even say Jags are not my least favorite team, but they are my rival team, so I'm naturally supposed to hate them. So
other than that, I don't have anything else to say about the Packers, so
yeah, I think you pretty much nailed everything that I had in mind.
You want to go next, Jason, or you want me to go?
It doesn't matter to me. Matthew, who do you want to go next?
Steven.
Yeah, I knew.
All right,
I knew
there we go.
I
knew that he was going to say it.
I heard Jason talk about his team yesterday or 2 days ago, so I got to hear Steven's take.
Okay. This goes back to what I've said pretty much all off season. Ryan Tannehill's going to be the starter. Okay? He just has to be. Malik Willis looked better than he did last year, which is not saying a lot. But it was not good. And Will Levis also did not look good. Malik Willis played better. So the way the Titans, I think, are handling it for the preseason, probably the whole season, or preseason, all the games, is they're basically alternating drives. Where Malik will have one possession, then Levis will have the next one. And I think that's a good way to do it. Give them both a little bit of time, and they can play with both the second and third string, whoever they're with. But I will say both of them threw an interception, and if it was first-string defenses, they probably would have thrown more. There were several that almost got intercepted, and somebody dropped it or knocked it or whatever. It was not good. They were making poor decisions. I was very disappointed with especially how Will Levis looked. Malik still kind of looked like the similar problems he had to last year, where he either holds the ball too long or he does it too fast. Like, he doesn't got the rhythm down yet. Like, he'll hold it for a split second, just immediately, first thought, there's somebody I think I can get it to. Throw it real quick. Somebody else rushes in and knocks it down, or of course, the interception happened too.
At least he's not doing the run first, pass later, like a lot of mobile quarterbacks try and do. A lot of young mobile quarterbacks try and do.
Yeah, and then also the other thing, and me and Jason talked about it, one of the interception I think that was technically Malik Willis's wasn't really 100% his fault, although, like I said, he should have thrown more, is, hold on 1 second. Let me get that now. There we go. So Josh Wiley is our tight end that we drafted this year, and he's been very impressive in training camp and stuff, especially at the very beginning before really training camp started, when they first were starting to practice together and stuff. The problem is, so the dude's 6'6", like, he's super tall for a tight end. Malik Willis threw it really high, because that's the thing, is they're like, well, the guy Wiley kind of hit it. He kind of hit it up, and then with the way that he hit it, it bounced out and went directly to a Bears player, and then that's where the interception happened. But I put it on both of them because, yes, Wiley did hit it up and then unfortunately deflected it right to another Bears player. But it's also, he's 6'6", and you're overthrowing that guy a little bit. That's concerning. I mean, if he wasn't 6'6", that would have been way overthrown. So, I'm just
maybe that's what he was going for. He's like, oh, he's 6'6", I got to throw it up a lot higher, and he just
overcompensated
a
little bit. No, but I'll say the only new player that really impressed me at all was Tyjae Spears, who of course is our running back that we drafted. I wasn't a big fan of the pick because mostly, I'm just like Matthew in this way that I really wanted us to take a wide receiver earlier than the 7th round, of course. They drafted Tyjae Spears in the 3rd round. He did impress a lot at the Senior Bowl, and he did seem like a Vrabel-type player. So it made sense that we took Tyjae Spears. And he did look really good because especially the first drive, we had, I'm totally blanking on the first drive we had basically the starting offensive line as we're probably going to use in the season. So they looked good, but then they didn't have the starting offensive line the rest of the game basically, and it showed. I think at least both of them got sacked once or twice. The Bears' backup defense looked really good. It's either they looked really good or the offensive line for the Titans, besides the starters, were really bad. It was one of the two. But yeah, I'm glad. So I'll tell you, I know Jason already knows this. While the preseason was going on, I was at my brother-in-law's got like an outdoor pool, so I was hanging out in the pool while watching the game on their outdoor TV. That made the whole experience a lot more enjoyable because if I was just in my house watching the game, I probably would have been miserable. But yeah, Tyjae Spears was the standout, and then the starting offensive line when they played, I thought looked good, which is one of my biggest concerns. But then it goes back to what I keep saying is our depth is not good. If our offensive line starts going down, especially even if just one or two go down, that messes up like the dynamic that Jason was talking about because you're not dealing with all the same guys. So I'm concerned about that still. I think our offensive line is now really our biggest concern. So that's pretty much all it.
I was going to say, I was impressed with Julius Chestnut with y'all.
Julius Chestnut's underrated. He's pretty underrated.
He impressed me. I know he had one run that broke off for like 30 yards at one point, which I know accounted for most of his yards on just that one play. But I was still impressed.
Yeah, I mean, I still think as far as running backs go, we got it nailed down. Of course, they're probably going to cut one. We've got 4 or 5 technically on the roster right now, but you've got Derrick Henry. He's of course making the roster. I mean, no doubt.
Yep.
Oh.
Shut up, Matthew. And then Tyjae Spears is probably going to be RB2, maybe 3. I don't know. But the thing that surprised me too, I forgot to address this. They played Hassan Haskins a good bit. We know about his alleged issue right now. He's the dude that like strangled that person allegedly. Still going through the legal situation for that. But they actually played him a decent bit, and I was surprised to see him out there because I felt like they would be worried about getting him too many reps when he may not even be able to be on the team, period, depending on what happens. But then you got Julius Chestnut, and then you got Ward. I don't know if it's either going to probably be Ward or Haskins that doesn't make the roster. I think you keep Julius Chestnut because he's so good on special teams, and then also he's a decent running back for a backup standpoint. So,
sorry, there's one more thing I did forget about the Packers that I didn't mention. Keyshawn Nixon, our guy who returns kicks and everything, they had him playing on defense, and he got a sack during the game, and I was ecstatic when I saw that. He's like top 3 of my favorite players on our team. So
nice.
But yeah, I said that last season. I was like, why are we not putting Keyshawn Nixon at one of our corners when all of them are hurt except for like one. And he's so good. I hope that they keep playing him on defense and that he's not just a special teams guy anymore. And also, Steven, what would you rank the Titans' performance?
Like what kind of like out of 10
Like,
or something?
no, S to F.
I know what I would put it at. I want to see if I'm close to what Steven's got.
C.
That's what I was going to say.
I don't think it wasn't anything that was like, oh my god, this is awful. But Levis looked like a rookie, and Willis just still looked like he's just not ready to actually face a team. But, yeah, I just wasn't super impressed, and I really thought at least against the Bears they would have a chance. Which the Bears did play, like Justin Fields played some, so they did play some of their starters. We didn't play any of our starters at all, period, other than the starting offensive line for just one drive, which that was good. So I guess because of that, I'll say C. But as I've said, very worried about our depth. If we start having injuries like we had last season at the end of the year, it's going to be bad. It's going to be really bad.
I did not realize how many turnovers happened in that game. I'm sitting here looking that there were 7 turnovers in that game.
Yeah.
That's rough.
Yeah.
From both sides, not just the Titans. If that's from both sides. That's
yeah,
rough.
and I will say, yeah, when they got, because there was a fumble that they had 2 situations. They had one that, and it was also with Wiley, if I remember correctly, where he caught the ball, but then it got knocked out. And because of the timing, they called it an incomplete because he didn't have it for very long. But then there was another one, which I don't remember who the player was, that caught it and took a few steps, and then it got knocked out again, and they called that one a fumble. So there were some fumbles, there was some interceptions. There's a little bit of everything, I think. So, yeah. What about you for the Packers? What would you give them as far as a grade?
Probably like a B plus. There's too many turnovers for me.
I think B plus is reasonable.
If they stopped giving the ball away, I would have for sure given them an A because the rest of the team played so good. The turnovers are what really did it for me, even though the defense got a couple of turnovers himself, but still. Now, Jason, how about the Broncos?
So I brought it up earlier. The offensive line did not look good in the slightest. It was just atrocious for most of the game. I was very nervous that we kept our starters in as long as we did. I know why Sean Payton did it. I understand he wanted them to get it right and to get some points on the board before he took them out of the game. But it worried me up until they got off the field and when they came back out on offense that wasn't the starters. Because they were out there for almost the entire first half. They were out there until like 5 minutes left in the second quarter. And with the field being the way that it was, I thought for sure we were going to lose somebody else to an ACL or an Achilles tear or something. Russell Wilson looked good. He had just over 50% completion rating. A couple of those incompletions were just drops, not really his fault. Jerry Jeudy had one in particular that he should have definitely had. It would have been a touchdown. They went back to him the next play. He caught it. It was a touchdown. Keep that confidence.
I was going to say, I like whenever teams do that and try and, sure, his confidence is down. Let's go to him the next play and see if he can do something with it. And he did. So
second chance, buddy. Let's do it.
And me and Jason did talk about this too. The whole Russell Wilson situation. He looks so much more mobile than he did last year. Yes. I don't know what he did over the offseason. I saw some of the training, but he looked pretty good. If the offensive line can step up and actually give him a little bit of time, he'll have a pretty decent season, I think.
Yeah, going back to the Jerry Jeudy touchdown, Russell Wilson said in the press conference that after he had that drop, they got back in the huddle, decided what they were going to do. Because it was 4th down at that point, and our kickers had already missed 3 field goals. So Sean Payton said, no more of that. We're going to go for it. If we don't get it, we don't get it. He said that he told Jerry Jeudy if it's there, I'm going right back to you on this play. And sure enough, Jerry Jeudy made the defender fall down, and he was wide open in the middle of the field and scored on that play. And I love to see that. I'm glad Jerry Jeudy still has the ability to make defenders fall down while defending, trying to, break up passes and whatnot.
Gotta love Jerry Jeudy.
Yeah, they've said it every year since he got drafted. It's his breakout season. If Russell Wilson can play good this year, this is Jerry Jeudy's breakout season. With Russell Wilson being in such good shape now, I have high hopes. Like we said, the offensive line has a lot of work to do in the next few weeks to get ready for the regular season. We didn't see Javonte Williams. We didn't see Patrick Surtain. We didn't see Frank Clark. So the defense was a little for a little bit, especially in the second half. They were very but I'm not too worried about it. A lot of guys didn't play, and especially in the second half, we were down to like our third and fourth string guys being in.
It makes sense because, like, obviously, and I was a little bit skeptical at first. Well, I mean, we addressed it on last week's podcast with them playing the starting offense, but it would have been more concerning for me if they played the starting defense, because it's like, we already know the Broncos defense is good. Just,
yeah.
Let the backups get some.
I think they've gotten better, and now that they're better, they don't want to show what they are yet until.
Yeah, and that's something else I thought about too. Is Sean Payton probably does not want to show all his cards before the season even starts.
Yeah,
I wouldn't either if I was a coach.
I mean, we have Vance Joseph as our defensive coordinator now. He was our head coach for a while. He got fired. We brought him back this year to be our defensive coordinator. I'm really excited to see what he's able to do with our defense. I was impressed with our run game. We had trouble with that all season last year. We could not run the ball to save our life. And we racked up over 120 yards on the ground this game. I'm very happy about that. And that's without Javonte Williams. So I don't think the run game is going to be an issue. I'm a little worried about our backup quarterback situation. If Russell Wilson were to get hurt, I don't know if he would win another game in the season. Jarrett Stidham looked great in camp, and then in the game, he looked atrocious. He's still listed as our second string. We'll see. I worry about that. Trying to think of any other names that may have impressed me. There's a guy on defense. What was his name? Matt Henningsen. He looked pretty good. I know right now it's up in the air if he's going to make the roster at all for the regular season. If he plays the next two games and plays the way he did, he'll definitely have a spot and not be opposed to that at all. He looked really good. He had a lot of pressure on the Cardinals quarterbacks pretty much the whole time he was in the game. And I'm worried about our punting situation. Riley Dixon did not look good. I know his first punt went for only like 30 yards. And that immediately, I was like, oh, great. We need a better punter. Where are we going to find one of those? He picked it up a little bit. He had two more punts after that. He picked it up a little bit. Maybe not quite as worried. But at the same time, this team is going to be hard to figure out what they look like. I'm also worried about our kicking situation. Our kickers went 1 of 4 on field goal attempts. Brett Maher didn't make one single field goal.
What a shock.
Sounds a lot like last.
Well, he made one extra point. He missed 2 field goals.
So it's the opposite. He can't make extra points, or he can't make field goals now, but he can make the extra points.
Yeah, Elliott Fry hit a 55-yard field goal, but he missed one that was closer. I think it was I want to say it was like 40 to 45, something like that.
See Justin Tucker hit that 60-yard field goal.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know why they put him in the game.
Just to do stuff like that.
Because he's insane. He's absolutely insane.
Yeah.
No, I've been seeing what a lot of Broncos fans have been saying. They're like, why the fuck did we let go of McManus? Like, what are we doing? I'm sorry. I wanted to throw in a couple things that I totally forgot to mention with the Titans that you reminded me of talking about yours. So I also didn't address the kicking situation. We've got Caleb Shudak and Trey Wolf, and Trey Wolf missed a field goal, and it was our only chance to score in the second half. Another thing that I had a lot of problems with this last year for the Titans is they just never could seem to score in the second half of the game. So whatever they had at the end of the first half, that's what they were leaving with. That's exactly what happened in this too. So I forgot to address that. Caleb Shudak's probably going to win. They're only going to keep one probably. Keep the other one like on the practice squad or something. But and then Shudak did play a decent bit last year when Randy Bullock got hurt. So. And then I was also going to mention, I wanted to say one thing about the Panthers that we didn't address when we were talking about them is, we said that maybe Sean Payton doesn't want to show all of his cards, especially when it comes to defense. Maybe that's what Frank Reich was doing with the Panthers, because it didn't, even though we said it wasn't anything impressive, it wasn't anything really bad either. It just seemed like they weren't really trying, I guess. So I'm really hoping that's what it was, because if that's what they look like for real, Panthers are going to have a bad season. So.
Well, it sounds like to me we're all kind of fucked in the kicking situation this season.
You still have the corpse of Crosby, man. You're fine.
Yeah, he misses field goals all the time.
I mean, the last thing I'll say for the Broncos is just giving them their grade. As a full team, I'm giving them a B minus. The offensive line specifically gets an F. And that's what really drags it down. If the offensive line had performed, I'd probably give them an A minus, maybe a B plus. But the offensive line really hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the Chiefs Saints game is going on right now. I just want y'all to know the Chiefs' first team offense could not move the ball against the Saints' third team defense.
Oh, maybe looking at a little switch up this season.
And the Saints quarterbacks are combined 15 of 18 right now.
Jeez.
Who are they playing at quarterback?
Jameis Winston now.
Is he?
Yeah, he's 9 of 10 for 80 yards.
Let's go.
He's a dog, for real. He has been so unlucky. His whole career has been so unlucky, but every time he plays, I mean, he's throwing for like 5,000 yards a season. So, I don't know why they wouldn't play him.
I'm worried now because I really thought, so the Titans play the Saints week 1 of the regular season, and they're playing at the Saints. So, I was thinking maybe we were okay with Alvin Kamara being suspended, and Derek Carr is just now adjusting to his new team, but maybe it's going to be a tough game. We'll see.
Yeah, no, J-Mo was back.
Yeah, I mean, if y'all want to talk a little bit about next week,
sure,
you can.
I don't know. I'm starving, guys. I hate to be the one, but I am so hungry.
All right, let's pick our games, whether we think our team is going to win next week or not. We can
just our own teams. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see.
We got Patriots at the Packers.
The Patriots looked decent this week, didn't they? Oh no, they got dogged by the Texans.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take the Packers if they play like that this week.
I'm gonna say the same thing because the Texans, even with CJ, the little bit that he was in, really wasn't that impressive, but they still whooped the Patriots. So I'm gonna also pick the Packers there.
Yeah, looking at it, the Texans and the Patriots both. I mean, they didn't really shine. So
no, Davis Mills played better than CJ Stroud.
Yeah,
and we know what Davis Mills is, so that's really not a good thing.
I mean,
Um,
the leading receiver for the Patriots was two receptions for 31 yards. So
yep.
Yeah, I feel like that's an easy sweep on that one, right?
Yep. Uh, Titans at the Vikings.
I mean, I don't know. Because Vikings really didn't do anything impressive either against Seahawks, but it was also the Seahawks.
Yep.
Which I think have a much stronger backup situation.
Yeah.
I don't know. Nick Mullen didn't look too bad looking at the stats.
14
I mean, I don't
of
know.
20, 139
Yeah.
yards and a touchdown.
I mean, I already know who Steven's going to pick.
I think I'll go with the Titans. I think that they can get something figured out. I mean, you can't really judge too much off of week 1 of preseason, so
Yeah. I'm going with the Vikings.
Realistically, I probably, if I wasn't a Titans fan, I probably would pick the Vikings too, but fuck it. Ride till I die, tighten up! Come on.
The last one is the Broncos at the 49ers.
didn't see how did the 49ers do anything good during preseason?
They haven't
So
played
far?
yet. They play later this afternoon.
Oh. Just for that reason, I'm going to pick the 49ers because I haven't seen them yet.
Do we think they're going to play Russell Wilson again?
That also does factor into it because if they don't play Russell Wilson, they definitely won't.
I'm going to tell you right now because I know you said that Sean Payton said that it was to go ahead and get him some reps, but not risk him being injured going into the regular season. So go ahead and do it now. Have him a couple weeks to recover. If they decide not to play Russell Wilson, yeah, I'm going 49ers just because I don't think they will, just to be safe.
I don't. If they play Russell Wilson, it'll be for a single drive, and that will be it, I would imagine.
I didn't like what I saw out of Stidham either, so I think I'm going to go 49ers.
Yeah. I'm also going to go 49ers. I'm just worried about the offensive line, man, especially against the 49ers defense, even it being their backups.
I still have so much respect for you that you're able to pick against your own team. I really want to be there, but I just can't do it. I just can't.
I'm a realist.
That's what I'm saying. There was a couple times I picked against the Packers last season.
I know you did. Yeah.
And like I said, it hurts my soul to pick against my team. It really does. It hurts deep down inside. But this is the preseason. I don't really care about this.
Yeah, I mean,
it doesn't hurt quite as bad. I can go ahead and tell you the first handful of games in the regular season, I will pick the Broncos because I think we can actually win those games. But with it being preseason and playing our second and third string guys, there's a big drop off from our first to our second string, like a big drop off. And you saw that in the first game of the preseason. There's a massive drop off. And that's why I'm worried about getting injured this year. So
one thing I'm also seeing before we get out of here, one thing I'm also noticing is because I'm going to be keeping up with the Panthers a good bit this year. The Panthers played the Giants this week, and the Giants stayed toe to toe with the Lions.
They did,
and so, and they're playing at New York or New Jersey, I guess technically, but
New Jersey,
yeah, the New Jersey Giants. That's bad for the Panthers if they play anything like they did against the Jets this week. So,
yep. Do y'all think we'll see Aaron Rodgers at all in the preseason, even if it's just for like a drive?
No,
he didn't even do it at the Packers. So
no, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I think it's just he doesn't want to play in preseason, and they're not going to make him.
I also think that he wants to. You know, he's been kind of trying to do a little bit of coaching too. Like he's been calling a few plays here and there and stuff like that. So I think he would much rather do that in the preseason.
I will say, I can tell he's been coaching Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson looks way better than he did at all last year. I was actually kind of impressed with him in their first preseason game.
That's the main reason I have faith in Jordan Love is because he sat behind Aaron Rodgers for so long.
Yeah.
And I think there's no way he can come out and be just atrocious. I just don't see it.
Yeah, the thing that really, like I've said before, that really sucks for Jordan Love is the fact that I think he'll be decent. He's just people are going to just be trying to compare him to Aaron Rodgers, and he's just not. He's not going to be Aaron Rodgers. Let's be honest, but he will be. I
It's
think
going to
he
be
will
better.
still. Okay, there you go. You heard it here first.
I mean, Aaron Rodgers only has one Super Bowl.
Okay.
True. I think we're good on everything we covered because I don't think we need to cover every preseason game.
Yeah, and Matthew's hungry over there, so we got to get out of here. So
I am. I'm starving. I haven't eaten since like 3:00 yesterday.
We're gonna start making you eat before we start recording. When we're doing our pleasantries, you're gonna be eating right then. All right. Well, yeah, we'll call it an episode. So thank you so much for listening, watching, whichever one you're doing. If you're doing audio only, make sure to at least subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/@alwaysoutofmarket. Follow us on Twitter @outofmarketpod. And then also, if you want to try out the energy drink Dubby, make sure to use our code ALWAYSOUT for 10% off at checkout. Should be on the screen here. And yeah, he's pointing down. Well, again, our position is different for Discord.
Yeah.
Anyway, so thank you again for watching. Y'all got anything else to add?
Get hyped for our fantasy football draft in a few weeks.
Yes, we will be recording that live as we do it. We're going to figure out how to make that work. We'll figure out a way, but we're very excited for our fantasy draft. So, all right. Bye, guys.
Later.